I think that they're very scared every time that they do meet what will get aired to the public. And I think that that's going to be a reoccurring theme. But I think Harry actually wants to come back into the fold for the simple reason of money. I think that there are financial issues looming on the gates of Montecito. They've got a very expensive lifestyle, him and Meghan, to upkeep. And those pots of jam aren't selling out on the website. So I know it sounds trivial, but I do think it's a bit of a craven pass at getting back in. And I think even that Guardian interview and then him jetting off to Ukraine. I mean, the man's been complaining about his security for the last few years and wanting us, the British taxpayer, to pay for it. It doesn't look good when he keeps jetting off to a war zone. It really doesn't. I mean, the optics of this have been shocking.
And when you think that jetting off in a private jet, and there's the man talking about the environment.
Yeah, precisely. Hypocrisy written all over it.
I was nervous about, I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing about that Guardian interview because he had quite a successful week. Not a successful week, but he had a week that didn't really have any errors. He got what he wanted. He got the meeting with the King. He got lots and lots of coverage, and I think he was leaving feeling it was a successful trip, and I think he got a little bit high on the attention. And then he gave this interview which torpedoed everything that he had maybe achieved in the week before. So yeah, his conscience is clear, doesn't air his dirty laundry in public, and a focus has to be on his dad. But also, I picked up in this interview that he now seems to love the UK. He said that he really enjoys the UK, he was happy to be back and, wants to spend more time in the UK in the future. Again, do we really believe him after everything that he's been saying in the last couple of years?
I'm not terribly sure we should believe him, but then if he wants to be back in the UK and wants to come back more often, wants to do some work here, does that say something about the atmosphere in Montecito?
Right.
Watch his space. But if you look at the engagements last week, that he had 4 days where he was kingpin. It was well managed, well stage managed. It was a big PR exercise. What I thought was crass was the fact that it was revealed by him how much money he had donated. Oh, yeah. The royals are always donating money. They don't say how much they donate. The organisations that are being given the money don't say how much. But yet, Harry has got to embellish the whole thing. The week went well, but he's got to embellish it with how much he donated. Why?
This is the 1.1 million to children in need, wasn't it? It was the 1.1 million
yes.
he announced in Nottingham.
I mean, there are so many people who give to children in need. They don't shout from the rooftops how much they've given. But Mr. Sussex had to do just that.
It was probably on the list of things they had to achieve throughout the week, because he got a lot of coverage for that as well. But you mentioned there about Montecito. So Meghan had stayed very silent during his trip to the UK, which is a bit of time ago, a while ago now. But on Harry's 41st birthday, which was on Monday, she returned to Instagram, exploded with this photograph of Harry. I think it was taken from about 15 to 20 years ago.
It was
Samara.
about 2009 he joined the Army Air Corps. He's in an Army Air Corps overalls.
Yeah.
So from that...
It's the last time he had hair. That's when that photo was taken. It's very old.
There's more smiles from Melania in that short trip than anything we saw on the Wednesday when she was doing all the pomp and ceremony. She seemed to be at home with Kate. There seemed to be a burgeoning friendship there.
I think Catherine can put anyone at ease. I mean, you can see that. They sat her next to Trump at the state dinner because of that. She is their biggest asset, and she really does continue to be. I think Melania, she's an interesting character. There's quite a few cultural differences there, and Catherine was able to smooth them over so easily. And I think that you're right. I think she was at ease in that situation. And I think that, we've not seen Catherine look so healthy and so well, as Trump alluded to in his speech, for a long time. And I think it's really, really reassuring for the nation to, first of all, she looked beautiful at the dinner. I mean, that photo of her and William was absolutely sort of box office. But then, yes, to see her, up and ready the next day in the garden with Melania, it's just nice to see her back in the game.
What was your highlight? What was your highlight of the... When we talk about the fashion and stuff like that, I mean, it's incredible outfits.
It was absolutely that photo of William and Catherine. That was sort of our future king and queen. I mean, I really, when I saw that, it was the wow moment. I mean, I don't know about you, but you probably have a much more bolshy favourite moment. But yeah, for me, I love all the pomp and glamour of it all. I mean, yeah. That it was actually that photo, weirdly. It wasn't anything to do with the king or Trump.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, that's the thing about these state visits. There are just so many elements that are so engrossing in so many different ways to different people, and we all pick up certain elements. My highlight was St George's Chapel. I was with Donald Trump when he was there with the late Queen, because he was a big fan, as he would describe, of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and he spent 10 minutes laying a wreath privately. We weren't allowed, and then he had a little tour through St George's Chapel, and he seemed in awe of it. You know, he actually seemed so impressed with the history of the UK. What was your highlight, Dickie?
My highlight, quite frankly, was the whole thing. But what we've got to remind ourselves in that this is a state visit, the President of the United States. He'll be gone in just over 4 years. So we have to capitalise on the goodness that came out of it and has come out of this state visit before the next incumbent arrives. We don't know. And that is up to governments to capitalise on it. The King did his job. He did it brilliantly. I mean, given that he is still undertaking treatment for a cancer, he's been working from one end of the day to the next. I mean, the man's got energy. When I worked for him, he worked from one end of the day to the next. He'd sometimes fall asleep at his desk at night. I'd get a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Can you do it? Did I wake you? No, of course you didn't, you online.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the sort of man he is, and he's still like that. I think he's cut down on working so late into the night because Camilla's made sure of that. But he has pulled out all stops, and a lot of people, and he's coming up to, what, 77?
I think 77 this year.
Yeah, he's going to be 77 in November. He is working so energetically, and a lot of people could take heart from that and think, well, why aren't I doing that? Because the man's got energy, even with treatment for cancer.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, it's the second one he's hosted this year as well. We had Macron's earlier this year, so
yes.
it's like full of energy. Now, I just wanted to touch on the Duchess of Kent. So, literally a day before the huge state visit, or the day that the president arrived, all the rules are out in force at the Duchess of Kent's funeral. There hasn't been, I don't think there's been much said or talked about or written about the Duchess of Kent than there should be. She's quite an interesting character, Dickie. I mean, she converted to Catholicism. She stepped down as a working royal and became a teacher. And all the rules were out in force for the funeral at Westminster Cathedral this week. Do you have any fond memories of the Duchess of Kent in your time?
She was very popular within the family. She was very talented. She was a musician. She gave a lot of her time to the arts. And when she dropped out of being a working member of the royal family, she became a music teacher. She taught in a primary school. She taught music. She was very much involved with orchestras. She was an accomplished musician herself. But she probably felt that she had done her time and she wanted to do something else, which is when she converted to Catholicism. Interesting that Pope Leo sent a message of condolence and that his prayers were with the royal family. That's how high in esteem that she was held.